Hello, Philadelphia! I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gargano Show!
I had to get it out. Well, a good morning. How about those birds yesterday in the dominating practice up in Foxborough? Welcome in. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Go to TrueMark.com/PHLY to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark today. All right, now, last night, in a much-needed victory, much-needed win, never materialized. In fact, it was ugly from the beginning. It was quiet from a bat standpoint, and it was loud from a booze standpoint as the booze rained down last night at Citizens Bank Park. Oh, the good times. The love affair that we've had with this team has turned into raining booze. Last night, Valente Bellozo, Jesus Chinoco, and Andrew Nardi. Three names you probably never heard of. Pitchers for the Marlins. Bellozo was the starter, went 7 innings. Chinoco and Nardi an inning apiece. They combined on a 4-hit shutout as the Phillies sleptwalk through the first game of this series. They are now 7-16. Oh, since the All-Star break. Their lead over the Braves, which was healthy, double digits healthy, is now down to 6 games. They are up 8 on the Mets. They trail the Dodgers by a game and a half for best record in the National League, and they're only up 2 on the Brewers. Now, a special yo to Matt Decker in our chat who said, "Cuz, are you still waiting for kickoff to be worried?" Now, obviously, I see what you see, and 7-16 and a listless game last night where the bats get stymied by, a kid making his second start. I mean, the Marlins, a bad baseball team, come in and just smack you. Berger hits a home run, and they just looked blah, right? It was quiet and ugly, and this is what happens when you're in the throes of a losing streak. Now, thankfully, you look at the calendar. So I look at the calendar, and, when you're at August 14th, it makes you feel a little better. Now, nothing's going to make you feel better with the way they're playing right now. And I can't press that panic button that VG sent me, and he was like this, pressing the button. I can't do that because I have to stay true to what I believe, which is it's a long season, and I can't worry until there's kickoff. I can't panic. Now, am I concerned? I mean, it's obvious, right? I feel the mood across town. It's down. We're depressed. We are a manic city. We don't handle losing streaks well. We make them even bigger what they are. Look, I'm not going to tell you it's a molehill losing streak. I mean, their lead is shrunken, and now it's tight, right? Now, you got 7 games coming up in the rest of this month with Atlanta. So after Washington the next 2, then you got, after the Marlins the next 2, you got Washington for the weekend, and then you got 3 in Atlanta, and later on at the end of the month, 4 here with Atlanta. And the lead is 6, and you play them 7 times. So that does make me concerned. I'm not impervious to that. I will say, I go back to 2022. And in 2022, the Phillies were playing bad baseball. In fact, they lost 2 to Atlanta. They were about to clinch a playoff spot. And all they needed was to win a game. And they lost 2 to Atlanta. Then you go, all right, doesn't matter. They're going to play the Cubs. And the Cubs in 2022 were awful. They were a bad baseball team. Well, lo and behold, the Cubs swept the Phillies that day. And you came down to the last weekend of the series, of the season, and it was against Washington, and it was a Friday night, and they finally clinched it. But you know what happened. They go to St. Louis in the wild card. Nobody gives them a shot, and they go on that epic run. My only point is we've seen this time and time again with baseball where, all it takes a series and a Bryce big hit, clutch hit, and the next thing you know, they're out of it. And the crowd at Citizens Bank Park is back to singing, we're going to be A-OK. But right now, the way we consume sports here in this town, this is coming off of 10-1, collapsed by the Birds. This is fright night. Like every night at Citizens Bank Park is fright night. We're going to go tonight and go see Ed Cabrera pitch against the Phillies, and we're going to go, well, they should hit Ed Cabrera. Edward Cabrera's got an ERA of 5.20. He's got a whip of 143. They should score against Edward Cabrera, but, the way they're in the throes of this thing, I don't know when you get out of it. They're going to need something dramatic to happen to win a game in a big way. I thought that they would turn the corner. When they won 4 or 5 out west, I thought they'd turn the corner. But, you get smacked around by Arizona, then you come home, and then you just were asleep. They were just, it was NyQuil at the plate. Nothing. They generated nothing. And the crowd, you could feel the energy. The energy down there is tight. It feels tight. It feels worrisome. If we were in the middle of September, not the middle of August, I would be panicked. But again, you still got a lot of baseball, 6 weeks before you get to the playoffs. Now, I'll give you one thing. And I'm concerned, so I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and go, I'm not concerned. But I texted my man, the skipper, Charlie Manuel. I go, Skip, are you worried? And he had this response, put it on screen, Skeeves. So he had, forgive me, it's not ready yet. My bad. He basically said, not at all. In fact, I remain upbeat and positive. So I lead you into my guys that are probably drinking right now, because you were supposed to drink some beers this morning.
We got Wild Turkey.
As soon as this London fog's done, a beer's coming out.
Violations, Greg Caputo, JP John Zapata. You've been a Nervine all for the last 2 weeks during this funk. Last night, it was the ugliest of it all. Even worse than getting smacked around by the Arizona game, gets out of control. They beat up on Marte, right? And it gets ugly. The score's ugly. Last night was somehow worse.
I don't know what you're talking about, Anthony. It's all sunshine. I got tickets tonight. Woohoo! I can't wait to go down, spend my $8 on concessions tonight. I got nothing but high hopes. We got high hopes. We got to be delusional at this point to go back. I'm going to go down there tonight. And you know what? I'm going to use my Bet Parks account is getting destroyed because I keep thinking they got to come through the night. I keep betting. I'm like a moron.
Well, we just need Italian Heritage Night for everything they turn back around.
Yeah. Italian Heritage. They just can't. Italians should just protest and stay outside tonight and have our own party.
Be a nice party.
Okay.
I'm in the pub. The pub.
I see the chat already is fired up, and I know people are freaked. You were talking about what it was like at the bar last night.
Yeah, let me read you some quotes. I was writing down what people were saying at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Put us out of our misery, end the season. They look like a minor league team sad. They blew it. Bleep them. I'm done watching them until this crap stops. What's Topper going to say tonight? I'm a good person, but bleep them. I don't know if I want to go Thursday. It's over. Post-game press conference. What's Topper going to say? Look at that face. Look at him. He's got to go. Love the Phillies. This makes me sick. This is rock bottom. These are all different people. This is not one person at the bar last night. These are all different people.
Listen,
Screaming at the TV.
I'll never castigate a fan for that reaction because you're living it, right? You're living in the moment.
It sucks.
You got to somehow like soar to 50,000 feet and look at it to get yourself a little bit out of it. But I get it. I mean, I know people are freaked out. But this isn't rock bottom.
That wasn't rock bottom.
No.
I mean,
5-0
losing in the
against
Diamondback
Fish.
series and then 5-0 in the Marlins.
That's not rock bottom. Rock bottom? Oh, my friend. It can get worse.
For this season, this feels like we're pretty low.
Yeah,
Maybe not rock bottom, but this is the lowest it's been this season.
Rock bottom at 19 games over 500. I mean, like
No, definitely not rock bottom.
it's not rock bottom.
No, it's
like,
not.
Come on.
But this is the lowest it's been.
Again, I'm not saying you should be singing High Hopes or A-O-A-OK. I get it, right? But this isn't rock bottom. And I understand when you go 10-1, like what that Eagles season did to us last year and did to this fan base, I mean, that was a pretty devastating blow. Not to mention all the post-process losses in the second round, right? Like all this stuff comes into play when we think about this squad and how they've fallen. I mean, look, 6 games up on the Braves when that thing was a healthy lead.
They're like half the Braves. 6 games up on half the Braves. They're missing their 2 best players. And it feels like rock bottom because
It does feel like
this was
it.
a Doug later, but Matt Decker threw it in the chat. The Marlins payroll's $13 million. Taijuan Walker's getting paid $18 million. It's ludicrous to get shut out by that team. Schwarber, Turner, Harper 1 for 12 against the pitchers you named. 1 for 12.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me.
Valente Belozo,
Yeah.
Look good, man.
Jesus Chinoco, and Andrew Nardi.
Yeah.
Oh,
1 of
Jesus.
12.
Yeah, and again, it's August, right?
You say that at the end of July. You're like, it's July.
Well, but that's all part of intellectually what baseball is.
I don't. Stott stinks. Stott and Marsh need to go down to AAA at this point. If
That's
I hear
concerning.
That stupid song tonight, I used to love that song. He should be booed as soon as he needs to change the song because nothing is A-OK.
Listen, you guys are like spot on about how you feel. And again, I'm not without concern. There are things like Walker stinks.
Oh, my
right?
God.
Like,
Yeah.
If it's not for Tobias Harris, he's the worst contract in the history of the town.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes, right.
I mean, let's be
Big
real.
swing and miss by Dombrowski.
Right,
One of his
okay.
fews.
Dude, I
Yeah.
had no control. last night.
So he stinks. He's useless. And their starting rotation is a major, major concern until Ranger comes back and shows you he could be who he is. There's real concern. I'm genuinely concerned about Stott and Marsh. I think that's legitimate. Stott has been in this funk really for 2 months. I mean, if you think about it.
I can't believe it's so much of a funk. I'm going to say play Sosa and bring up Kingery, who's been having a nice season.
I'm
Bring
not
him
going.
up.
I'm not going.
Oh, you
Kingery
can't go
yet.
Scotty Jetpacks.
Jetpacks right now. I'd like to
wants
see some
a
jetpacks. And
No, man.
put Stott down for a week.
I can't go Scotty Jetpacks.
Dude, Marsh has 114 strikeouts and like
He's been
300 at bats.
terrible.
That's like on pace for like 220.
It doesn't
I
even
know.
matter if it's a lefty or righty.
That's
Like he's been
No,
bad.
That's okay
he's
if
been
you're
bad
a
against
bomber.
right-handers. No, you're right. If you're
If you're Ryan Howard,
Dave-
sure.
yeah.
Strike out 200 times.
yeah, my reference is going to be too old. Dave Kingman.
Dave Kingman. Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Where guys had these power hitters
Bat
that would strike
202.
right. But look, he doesn't even put the bat on the ball. Like it's bad. But again, you know how it works. At some point, there will be a game. I don't know when it's going to happen, and I don't know if it's going to actually save our sanity. But there'll be a game where they have a walk-off, and they celebrate in home plate, and everybody's jumping up and down, and that somehow propels them back into it. Like, they need to be jolted back to the kind of club they are. I mean, listen.
I mean, does Topper need to do a move? Send Marsh down for a week? I mean, something like that to shake this clubhouse up?
Yeah, at some point you're going to have to do that.
Yeah.
And then, listen, you got after the Marlins, I told you got Washington, and then you got Atlanta, KC, Houston, and Atlanta. Those are 4 nasty series, right? Like, you got to be playing better, because then if you're still in this funk playing those teams, then it could be like ugly.
Yeah, and I mean, that was a tough challenge, those matchups that you mentioned. But this week felt like it was going to be cake. And cuz, like, even the National Series, I don't feel too comfortable either, because they're no walk in the park anymore.
No, listen, you're right. Like, they're a much better club. And, you know, I mean, they'll hit the ball. They're pesky. They have decent lineup. I mean, I get it. My only point is less wins and losses and more how you're playing. Like, they need to be jolted out of this thing. Like, again, I can't go, you know, bridge jumping in August.
No, I get that.
I mean, I can't do it. Only because I know better.
Yeah. I mean, the pitching for me is more concerning than the bats. Because, listen, the bats obviously is bad. Like, 4 hits last night is unacceptable. But, I mean, you're talking about Rangers not out there right now. Taijuan, I mean, I think we've seen enough of Taijuan Walker. And it looks like Spencer Turnbull is going to be turned into a relief pitcher once he comes back off the injury. So, dude, like, we're using a lot of Wheeler, a lot of Nolan those starts. And I don't feel comfortable with this pitching going forward.
Yeah, listen, there's a million concerns that are legitimate.
JT, second and third, can't get a single last night? Come on, bro. He stinks right now.
No, he hasn't done anything.
Nothing.
I thought missing all that time would help him.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes that locks you back in. Mm-hmm. And he's been bad.
Yeah.
He's been scuffling.
Seen another monster game from
I'd rather see Marsh.
But all it takes is one of these things, and then they all get hot, and we forget about this thing. Yeah. Like, if I fast forward to the middle of September, we're sitting here, the Eagles are 2-0, and we're feeling good. The Phillies are on some sort of roll, winning 8 out of 9. We forget this moment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan at heart. I'm emotional, reactionary.
Short-term memory here.
Yeah.
No, but that's why.
But
when you're looking at me, like, I can't come in like, oh my God, it's over. I still don't believe it's a 10-1. You're going to get buried by the Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs on the road. And I know it's sliding that way.
Yeah,
I know.
It feels like it.
I know.
So big love for Sosa. He's like the backup quarterback right now. Everybody wants Sosa in the lineup.
These people love Sosa.
Maybe he turns the season
We're
around.
going to talk to Matt Gelb.
I love it. We need him.
Yeah, Matt does great work.
Yeah, he
got great
covers
insight.
the Phillies for the Inquirer. Terrific. So we'll get to Matt coming up with the Athletic. We'll get to Matt coming up. But first, tell us about some Shady Rays.
Oh, man. Nothing better than a good pair of sunglasses all year round, especially, though, in the summer when the sun is bright. So we got our friends over at Shady Rays. They got you covered with some premium polarized shades that won't break your bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company offering some world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, and make them the perfect choice for all your outdoor adventures. They got hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find a perfect pair to match your style. And they even got a rainbow full of colors, so whatever your favorite team's colors are, you can grab a pair to match. I like them when I'm driving, especially when that sun blaring off the back of cars. Those polarized lenses cut out all that glare. Cool thing about Shady Rays is if your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements guarantee. So if you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back with personal and fast support. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to Shady Rays and use the code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 satisfied customers.
I love it. Got to wear it for the ballpark tonight too, VJ.
Yeah, so I can not see as well.
Rather get blinded.
Dim the ugliness.
You need blackout glasses.
Yeah, that's what I need tonight.
All right, guys. Well, listen, let's talk now about our friends over at Ace Hardware. I'm so happy to be talking about them. Listen, as you guys know,
Ace is the place.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks, ladies and gentlemen. And obviously, as you guys know, I'm recently married, so now I got the honey to-do list, right? I got things to do around the house. And so my wife now is recommending, hey, hon, go to that big orange store in the Wegman Shopping Center. I'm like, hon, did you know right around the corner, right on Haddon Ave, we got our Ace. That's the place where we're going to go for all of our hardware needs, ladies and gentlemen. So anything you may need, from gardening, maybe you need a new pipe or whatever it may be. They even got the egg grill. Guys, I'm all about smoking the meats. They have everything you need here at Ace Hardware. So guys, anything you need as far as anything around the house, definitely make sure you guys are checking out Ace Hardware. And right now, guys, visit Ace Hardware's home services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. So whatever project may be, big or small, in or outside the home, make sure you guys are checking out Ace. They're your local hardware folks, as Cuz has said. And I want to give a big thank you to our friends over at Ace Hardware.
All right, JP, time now to go to our man Matt Gelb, who does such a great job covering the Phillies for The Athletic. Oh, my Matt, good morning, buddy.
You didn't enjoy watching Valente Balozzo carve up the Phillies last night?
Dude, there is panic in the streets. Right? Everybody thought you come home, all right, you feel good. You got the Marlins and the Nationals after the ugly ending to that trip, and you get 4 hits off that trio.
Not good. I mean, they're a tough watch right now. I don't think there's any way around it. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. I guess like where I land is things definitely need to change, right? They need to play better baseball, but I don't know. Like I still don't sense a lot of bigger problems with this team, and this stretch has gone on longer than it should. There's no question. We knew that they were not going to play at 110 win pace all season. I do think this is interesting, okay? The Phillies are 28-32 in their last 60 games. Do you know what the record was in their first 60 games last year?
What was it?
28-32.
Wow, look at
They
that.
basically have done the reverse of last season, which was get off to a slow start and turn it on in the summer. They got off to a crazy start this year, and they faded here. And look, like the reality is this. They have 6 weeks to get this thing right going into October. And I think where I come down is this, is like, if they had been winning here in July and August, I still feel like there would be a large faction of fans who'd be like, okay, great. Doesn't matter if they don't win in October. And I think that was sort of the same way when they got off to this hot start. And honestly, that was the vibe in the clubhouse too. Like they were acknowledging this. And I think that's a good perspective. When they were winning all these games, it's like, it's a great start. It's great. Doesn't, we got to do it in October. And the same thing holds true now. It's like rough 6 weeks, rough 2 months. Doesn't matter. We got to win in October. And I think that's sort of the tone that they've had in the clubhouse. And I think that's the right way to kind of look at this thing. They got to make it right before October.
Yeah. And so I'm with you. I can't sit here and, well, I'm concerned about some things that we'll go over. But when you look at baseball, you remember 2022, I mean, they got swept by the Cubs at the end of that season. They were trying to clinch a playoff spot, and they were struggling. They lost 2 to Atlanta. They get swept by the Cubs, and then they had to kind of beat a bad Nationals team that give it up to clinch to get into the playoffs. And we know the run that happens. That's what baseball is. Like baseball, I was saying this to the guys, that at some point, Matt, there'll be a walk-off win, right? It'll be middle of September. They'll have won 8 of 9, and we'll have forgotten all about this stretch right here.
Right, and the idea is that, first of all, like this team is supposed to be better than the last 2 years, and I do think they are better. They have a better roster than they did the last 2 years, and it's so comparing what happened the last 2 years, like I just did, and like you just did, Anthony, like it's a nice reference point, but this team was and is supposed to be better, and they still might be. I think they are. I do think that are there bigger picture concerns that have come out of this stretch? I think yes and no. Yes, in that I think the starting rotation is what carried this team early in the year, and it has not been as good of late. Like everything to me begins and ends with the rotation. And I'm not saying they lost last night because Taijuan Walker gave up 2 runs in the first inning. They didn't. But it just felt totally deflating last night when he
Yes.
throws
Yes.
34 pitches in the first inning. He walks
Yeah.
2 guys. It's like if you're going to get beat, especially by the Marlins, make them put it in play, right?
Yeah.
Do not walk guys. And he throws like 9 straight balls out of the zone, and you're like, oh man, like this is not the way we envision this starting. And you could just see it, the energy, kind of like whatever energy there was. And it was a big crowd. There was no energy really. And that was because of what happened at the top of the first. And again, it's not why they lost. They did not score a run. They got 1 guy to third base. That's why they lost. But there's just the starting pitcher sets the tone, and that's what they got for the first 2-3 months of the season. They haven't gotten that of late. And I think that to me is a bigger picture concern. I know people are fixated on the offense. I tend to think that the offense will come around. I do.
Yeah, to me, the whole season, the whole run, everything hinges on Ranger Suarez. Like Ranger Suarez has to come back, and he's got to be that guy that you can count on in the postseason because, listen, Sanchez is a good story, but you need to slot somebody in like Sanchez for a game 3 that will keep you in the game and really give you that chance. Like you need him to be what he was over the first couple months of the season.
And this is why within the sport, and I'm not just talking about like media people, I'm talking about players from other teams, coaches from other teams, executives, scouts from other teams. They see the Phillies as one of, if not the favorite still to win it all because of their pitching, because they have 4 legitimate starters that you can use in a postseason series. And because they have 4, 5, sometimes even 6 relievers. So you're like, okay, you can trust these guys in the playoffs. And that is something that a lot of teams don't have. Even a lot of the better teams in baseball right now, they do not have 9 pitchers that they feel like they can trust. And are some of them better than others right now? No question. Are there concerns about Christopher Sanchez and Aaron Nola right now? No question. But we've seen these guys rise to the moment in October most of the time in the last 2 years. And I think they have to get to the other side of this thing. And if they do, I mean, I actually think it really could help them. And it sounds so stupid right now because they are playing awful. I mean, they're playing awful baseball right now. This could help them. I mean, like if they have to make these adjustments now, especially the hitters, that's good because you'd rather have them go through this now than October.
So let's talk about now for a second and dive into they need to be jolted out of this thing. What can you do? I mean, Stott is struggling. Marsh is struggling. JT is struggling. Let's go to Marsh and Stott. Like, what can you do with those guys?
For me, I'm not touching Stott. I actually think Stott's at bats have been better. And I know the results haven't been there. He hit a couple balls hard last night. He's hit balls hard. To me, Marsh is, I think, where you start. And I do think I think Thompson's going to make some lineup shuffling today. Like, I don't know what, there's not a lot he can do. I mean, the roster is the roster. And it's not like, if you're going to bench Brandon Marsh for a couple days, fine. Like he hasn't made enough contact. And like, we can call it what it is. I mean, it's not just like a slump now. I mean, this has been going on since May, really.
I mean the strikeout numbers are just alarming.
Yeah, I mean, he's just, even if he's not going to hit lefties, fine. Like, he's got to hit righties, and he's not hitting righties right now, and he's really not even putting the ball in play. So, okay, it's like, all right, well, great. Let's sit Brandon Marsh. Let's kind of move the lineup around. It's like, well, okay, who's playing for Brandon Marsh? And like, the answer is probably Weston Wilson, Cal Stevenson. I mean, like this, Austin Hayes would be the guy. He's out. He cannot be activated until Sunday at the earliest with the hamstring. He might be ready by then. But I mean, right now the manager has, limited options in terms of like what he can do to shake it up. And I think that's why he has resisted shaking it up. He's not the kind of guy who likes to make change for change's sake. But I think that they have reached a point where it's like, okay, it's probably time to shake it up.
Yeah, you feel it, right? Like the one thing I don't think, and it sounds like you and I are on the same page, that this isn't the 10-1 Eagles that go off and slide into the ocean and are a quick out in Tampa. I don't think. I think the bones are still really good, and I keep going back to it. Pitching. Can you just get that thing right? When Turnbull comes back, I know they got him slotted as a reliever, but I think, I always liked him as a starter. I thought he did well early on starting.
Yeah, I think they're just going to run out of time in terms of being able to bring him back as a starter. He's supposed to get off a mound this weekend. Like, he was supposed to throw off the mound last week, had a little bit of soreness still. So I think if they had more time, Anthony, they'd bring him back as a starter. I just don't think they have enough time there. And you're right. I mean, when you talked about Ranger Suarez, like, he is a huge piece of all this. And one of the reasons why their pitching has struggled in the last 5, 6, 7 weeks is that the starters just haven't gone deeper into games like they did before. Now you're adding more innings on the bullpen. Guys are throwing more, and I think we've seen the strain for some of these guys. They definitely hit a wall. Some of them were, had sub 1 ERAs, and it's like, okay, this is not going to continue for the whole year. They're going to give up some runs, and it kind of just all happened at once for them.
Yeah.
And you want to see how these guys pull out of it, and I do think they will. But we can also say this has gone on way longer than it should have.
What's the Rangers' timetable?
He threw a sim game yesterday, came out of it good by all counts. He said he felt good. He's going to throw again Sunday, whether it's going to be at AAA or whether it's at the ballpark in Philly. He'll do another sim game. I'm going to say that he's going to make a start, not this weekend, but next weekend in Kansas City. I think that's when he's going to come back. I also think that it's not the worst thing that he's not going to pitch in that Braves series next week, because Braves have hit lefties pretty good this year. The way it sets up now, the Phillies will have Wheeler and Nola pitching in that Braves series, so I think they like that.
Yeah, that real quick, that stretch is nasty. Braves, Kansas City, then you come home, Houston for 3, and then Atlanta again for 4, which takes into September.
Hey, you got to get it right. I mean, I think right now a lot of people are saying, well, early on, they were just beating up on bad teams, and like they certainly did, but they beat a lot of really good teams too. I mean, there was a stretch where they swept the Brewers, they swept the Dodgers, they beat Arizona 2 out of 3 at home. Like they are a good team. They are a better team than they've played. Are they as good as they were at the beginning of the season? Probably not. Are they as bad as they are right now? Probably not. They're somewhere in the middle. And right now, this year in Major League Baseball, that's not bad, because there's not a team that's on pace for 100 wins this year, which is kind of crazy. I mean, there is not a lot of separation between the teams at the top right now, and that again just behooves them to turn it on now, so you can make sure you get that 1 or 2 seed, so you're not playing in that first round. Because honestly, right now, like Padres, Diamondbacks, those 2 teams would be wild cards. Like, you don't want to face those teams right now.
Hey, Matt, the fans are panicking. I was out at a pub last night and hearing a bunch of crazy talk. This is just things I'm hearing. Is it totally out of the question for an injection of energy to try Kingery up here, who's having an okay year, or Crawford, who's looked really good in the 17 games at AA right now?
It's not going to happen, I would say. I mean, maybe Kingery's a guy that they bring up for the bench. I mean, I thought it was interesting that they did not bring him up last weekend when they had a need. They brought up another lefty hitter. It did surprise me a little bit. Kingery's played well at AAA. AAA this year, it's like really hard to evaluate the numbers because the pitching at AAA is really bad, like across the board. Anyone who's been a good pitcher has been called up to the major leagues this year because there's been not enough pitching in the big leagues. So even if they call up Kingery, like he's probably not a guy who's going to get regular ABs. Maybe they do go to him at some point. As far as Crawford, no. I mean, like he's at AA. I mean, if there's a AA outfitter, you want to at least squint your eyes and like, oh, maybe this guy could help, but I highly doubt it. It's a guy named Gabriel Rincones Jr. He was a high draft pick a couple years ago. He's missed most of this year with a thumb injury. Big power guy. He's on a good streak at AA. I don't think that he's a guy that is a realistic option right now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if things get really desperate, like I guess, maybe that, and he keeps hitting at AA, maybe they're like, okay, like let's just give it a shot. I highly doubt that that's something that happens.
Do you think from being around the team, do they have a confidence issue right now? Are they shaken right now?
I don't think they're shaken. I think they're just like baffled by the fact that this thing hasn't turned around. And like, it's not like these guys are sitting back and be like, all right, it's just gonna, it's gonna happen. It's gonna turn around. I mean, I think there's been a conscious effort to make adjustments, to put in the work. Kyle Schwarber, I think, sets the right tone in that clubhouse, and it's like he, out of all those guys, like I think he works more pregame than just about anybody, and that sets an example. I mean, he is like not sitting back and saying, okay, well, we are a good team and it's just gonna click for us. Like, no, I mean, like, I think they've put in the work, and there's been a lot of probably too much thought on. It's like, well, what's gone wrong? Like, how do we make the adjustment? And Schwarber even said it last night. He's like, sometimes the most obvious answer is the one right in front of you, and we might look past that at times. And so the most obvious answer right now for them is to try to pass the baton in the lineup. It's like, don't try to hit a home run. Like, let's just try to get on base, try to get a walk, try to get a single. Like, start small and then think big. But they missed the home run. They haven't hit a home run in 29 innings now.
Wow.
And that matters.
Yeah, that's for them. It's an eternity. It's an eternity for them. Did you, by the way, just to go back to the All-Star, to the trade deadline for a second, did they at all get involved in the Flaherty sweepstakes when, he goes to the Dodgers, relatively cheap? I know that they were talking about Crochet, and they kind of saw him as a possibility as maybe a super reliever if they were able to land that. But did they kick the tires on Flaherty at all?
I think they inquired on him, but I don't really think they were serious there. And the reason for that was that we don't want to acquire a guy who's, we have 4 postseason stars right now. If we're going to go acquire a guy, it's somebody that we want to be able to use in the postseason, have a role. It's like, okay, if we go get Jack Flaherty, then all of a sudden, okay, now we're bumping Christopher Sanchez to the bullpen. And quite honestly, like, I know he hasn't been good the last month. Sanchez has earned the right, I think, to start a postseason game for this team. And as far as 4th starters go in the sport right now, he's one of the better ones, I think.
I guess
so.
What you could have done, and this was a bit, and you would have been right-handed dominant, but you make Ranger the super reliever because he's been effective in that role, and then you would have had Wheeler, Nola, Flaherty. Now you're all right-handed, which is an issue, but you would have kind of Ranger to play that bridge role.
They could have. I mean, I just don't think that was something that necessarily entered their minds because Ranger has been so good as a starter before getting hurt. I mean, we were talking about Ranger as this. People were talking about him as the Cy Young in June, and like, obviously, like, he's not going to win that, and he's come back down to earth a little bit. But we're talking about a guy who is, I think, again, deserves to start a postseason game, and a guy that you trust. You trust handing him the ball in a postseason start, and you say, "Get us 5, get us 6," and he can do that.
Yeah. No, listen, I completely get it. I was just curious if they actually thought about that because
I mean, I think they talked about Flaherty.
Role. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they talked about Flaherty, but I think there were other teams that were just more desperate to land a starter, and the Dodgers obviously were one. I mean, their rotation is decimated by injury.
They got him for like the 8th prospect, their 8th prospect.
Yeah, careful with the prospect rankings because the public rankings are, I would say that I there was a report that came after by Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic, and it was a strong report. I mean, the Yankees thought they were going to trade for Flaherty. They didn't like the medicals. He didn't pass their physical for them. And I do think that there was some concern, I think, within the industry regarding that situation. I do.
Yeah, it's fascinating. They got to get JT surprises me. I thought missing all that time. Sometimes you come in and you're like locked in. Like, when you miss that time, it does you good, does you well. And I'm surprised that funk's lasting. That's got to end soon.
It should. I mean, the one that I just cannot wrap my head around right now is Trey Turner. I mean, he was the first 2 weeks of July was probably the hottest hitter in the entire sport. I mean, this guy was unstoppable. He was backspinning every ball out of the ballpark or into the gap. And you're like, wow. I mean, this is Trey Turner at his best. And right now, like, it's really obvious to everyone who's watching. And like, it's not like he doesn't know too. Like, he's getting breaking balls, off-speed pitches, down and away, pretty much every single at bat, every pitch. That's what they're starting him with. And he's chasing it. And he's just swinging everything right now. And he knows it. They know it. Everybody knows it. And he just hasn't been able to pull himself out of this. And I think part of it is that the team is just not going great. So he feels like he's got to be the guy. And he is just swinging at everything. You see it leaking into the field where he's made some really bad mistakes at shortstop. I think he's a tremendous player. I'm just surprised at how streaky of a player he has been for them.
Yeah.
From last year to this year, it's got to be better.
Yeah. Nah, you're spot on. Matt, you do such a great job. I love talking to you, man. You do just great work, and you analyze it great, because I think right now we need a little more analysis, less emotion. So you
Emotion is okay. Emotion is okay. I mean, and I feel for people who are like, they thought this summer was going to be a party all summer, and it's like, this team is best team in baseball. They're going to cruise, and it still wouldn't have guaranteed anything in October. And because they're playing poorly right now, doesn't mean that they're going to lose in October. I mean, it's hard to separate the emotion from the analysis, and I know that that's kind of what I do for a living. But I feel for people who are kind of upset. They're a tough watch right now. They are not fun to watch.
You ain't lying, brother. You're not lying. Matt, thank you so much, my brother. You keep up the great work, buddy.
See you guys.
Matt Gelb, Athletic.
For insight.
Great insight.
Yeah, he's legit. But, I mean, 90 wins is a stretch right now. Like,
I can't believe it. Listen,
people got this bet out for 90 wins, and, like, they're sweating it.
I know. I know. I just keep going back to this.
We were talking about breaking the Mariners record.
I know. Like, we're going to fast forward to, at some point, a moment in time in September. And they'll have won some sort of streak, like 8 of 10, 8 of 11.
Always happens.
And we'll have forgotten this.
I hope, man. I hope you're right.
I mean, otherwise, then it's Eagles 2.0.
Yeah.
Right?
We can't go through that in the same year span.
And listen, there was something structurally wrong with the Birds last year. We saw that, right? Like, we saw that with the coaching staff, with the coordinators. So, we even said 10-1, are they really that good? We knew they were good, but were they 10-1 dominant? And we've got the answer to it. So we understand what the foundation issues were. This Phillies team, I don't think, has foundation issues.
No, definitely not foundation issues. I think it's just a lull of the season. But the most concerning part about it has just been, and Matt just mentioned it, beginning of the year, starting pitching was ridiculous. We had 3 guys who were early Cy Young candidates, and now the starting pitching has been an issue. And so, these are,
they got all 3 of them are looking behind Skeens.
The bats aren't playing great either. Obviously, the big bats especially. And you have to expect that both these factors will turn around.
Look, foundation. I still think the starting pitch is good, no?
Here's the juxtaposition of that whole Eagles thing. We were riding high. The national pundits were like, this is a fake 10-1. And we ignored them. We're like, Phillies are rock bottom. No national pundits are saying that. They're all respecting the Phils. All the Vegas books are respecting the Phils, but we're ignoring them again. And we're just in our own bubble. Like, we should have learned from the Eagles. We should learn the national guys.
That's why I bring it up.
National guys, they say it's going to be okay.
Well, that's why I bring it up. We're foundation. Look at the if you see a foundation issue, I could see it, right? Like, Rangers done. Like, if Ranger wasn't coming back, I would be panicked. Like, you'd have a big hole in that rotation.
You still got some good leaders in that dugout, too. I mean,
I don't worry about the hitting. I mean, look.
No, the leaders in the dugout.
Yeah, and I'm like, slumps happen in baseball. So even that leadership, whatever, they've been through it. They've had 2 long runs. So I'm not worried about that piece of it. I'm talking about foundation, like something deep that is an issue. Is the lineup a foundational problem? No, it's not. The bullpen, you still got guys down there you can count on.
The bullpen is a little concerning right now.
Alvarado is your biggest
Hoffman's
concern.
Been okay. Alvarado, but
that's not foundation.
Banks. This guy looks like a bum.
Yeah.
What was this?
But do you see foundation cracks? Because I don't see foundation issues. I don't.
I see minor issues.
I mean, I see a couple of guys who I'm really worried about them hitting. They're the bottom of the lineup guys.
Right. I get it. Stott and Marsh are an issue.
Yeah, that's an issue.
I mean,
I get
if
it.
Hayes comes back, it's less of an issue if they get him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were hoping he would interchange with Marsh.
I know.
It's just
this portion of the
night.
show is brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and Casino app. Time now for the Daily Grind and the Brain.
Brain.
Brain. Red, the Brain Finder.
Hello, Brain. Top of the morning.
Good morning,
to you.
Anthony. How are you?
Good. How'd you hit him yesterday?
Man, it's interesting, Anthony. It's funny. Me and my son, we played against my dad's played golf for like 30 years or whatever. He started actually at late age and around like in his early 50s. He's become a good golfer. He's 84 years old now.
God bless
In
him.
18 holes, he hit one bad shot in 18 holes. I'm like, how every shot down the middle. We played best ball. I thought we would crush him, like between me and my son, but he beat us on the last hole by one. But I did not play well yesterday. That's a frustrating game. I got to tell you, like, I'm a strong guy. I would think I'd be able to hit the ball 300 yards just because of I'm a big dude. I can't. And man, I get so frustrated. That game, I'll tell you this: if you want to frustrate yourself, it's a great game to play.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rory's not a big dude, and he can hit it, 400.
Justin Thomas, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Justin Thomas.
There's like 15-year-olds who hit it 300 yards.
I'm just not one of them.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But I had fun.
You can't go out 4 times a year and be good. You got to go out.
Yeah, you got
on the regular.
Yeah.
You're right. It's funny. It's ironic though. My best shots are usually my drives. They're usually decent. It's everything. It's usually these iron shots.
Yeah, the whole game's within 100 yards. If you're good within 100 yards, you're good.
Yeah, you're right. And the putting, man, it's a look. What's cool about the game is that you never master it. I mean, you can be, Scotty Scheffler. You still won't master golf. It's always a game that can humble you, even if you're like the best player, unlike some other sports. So, but no, I had a really good time. But man, I got to play more, as you said, to get any kind of consistency.
Well, it's like the Phillies.
Phillies might be golfing.
Like
I gotta tell you, Anthony. No, my one of my betting partners every single day. It's an argument every day. It's like, Brad, we got to bet the Phillies season win total under wins. It's been going on for 3 weeks, and I'm like, it was like 101.5. No, I don't like it. 100.5. No, I don't like it. 99.5. No, I can't get there. 98.5. No. Now it's like getting 94.5 or 95. Every day it's like he's like, Brad, you're killing me. He's like, you keep backing this Phillies team. You refuse to adapt. They have this. He told me, I don't know if this is right. They have the second worst record in baseball, like the last 40 days.
Yes.
Yes. The White Sox are the worst, and the Phillies are the second. Look, they're 15 and 7 and 16 since the All-Star break.
You know what's interesting, Anthony? But what you said, and again, people think maybe we just always agree, but I can't help. I agree with everything you said again. I just do. Like, I don't think it's a foundational issue. The Eagles last year, I said, and I was very strong about it, this is a team that has major cracks, and I thought it was going to explode. I don't feel that way about this Phillies team. Yeah, it's very disappointing what they're going through right now. Extremely disappointing. I'm not making excuses for them. But I still think it's not – I don't think this is like terminal cancer, so to speak. Like, I think that this is a team that can just right the ship and still be a very tough team to beat that still really can win the World Series. I don't think it's I get the comparison, but I just don't think it's the same, and maybe I'm wrong. And this team seems to have a good –
we see it the same way because – look, we understand now, looking back on it, like obviously the coordinators were a problem, right? And
right.
The defense was never good. We knew that last year. And offensively, I mean, they ran into a lot of issues, and we all know about that. That was last year. So that was why their foundation was cracked or an issue. This Phillies team, other than, as soon as you get Ranger back, and Ranger has to be Ranger, like, again, that now makes your rotation back to where it was. And no one's saying that they're going to go, 4 aces on you, but they're a much better team when those 4 guys are rolling.
100%. And by the way, Anthony, I like the T-shirt, man.
Shibe Sports.
There we go.
Friends over Shibe.
I love when you wear stuff like that, man. That's pretty cool, man. I like that.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
I like that.
So,
we'll see how it plays out. But I think the Phillies long term. Look, I hate to say this, Anthony, but it's true. This is really, as long as you get a top 2 seed, which is extremely important. This is an exhibition season. I mean, really, I'm not trying to be. I'm not. You want to enjoy it.
You do a lot of future stuff, like I know 100%. You kill the NBA, but like you'll look at the divisions a lot. So I'm going to throw this at you. So Atlanta is 6 behind the Phillies. Now, that lead was double digits. It's now down to 6. They have a very dicey – so after the Phillies After Miami, they play Washington for 3. Then they got Atlanta 3, KC 3 on the road. Come back home, Houston 3, and Atlanta for 4. So you have the Braves 7 times between now and September 1st.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Anthony. I think they're much better than the Braves. I just do.
So
I don't
do
think the Braves are a very good team. So that if the Braves didn't have what I mean, listen, you were talking about team with injuries. They lose the best pitcher and the best hitter in the same year. It's like, I mean, that's horribly unfair. It's the way it goes, obviously. But no, I think the Phillies will still win the division. But as long as you get a top 2 seed and you get a bye, okay, as long as you get that bye, to me, nothing else really matters. I mean, it really, whether you win 114 games or 94 games, really, again, it just doesn't. I mean, it's what you guys talked about all the time. It's no matter how, just do you win those big postseason games and those big moments? That's what it comes down to.
I completely agree with you. All right, so what are we looking at? You got anything cooking? I know you do.
I do. Okay, listen. I normally would prefer the 5-inning line, but when I was on the Park site today, the Royals with the great Cole Reagans are minus 132 in the 5-inning line. It's a 20% tax, so I'm going to lay minus 112 in the game against Louis Varland and the Twins. Listen, when Cole Reagans pitches, we talk about these elite pitchers all the time. They're a great team. They're a very good team anyway. I mean, they're, I think, 12, 11 games above 500 on top of it. I think they're like 2 games behind the Twins. Twins won the first 2 games in the series. I think they had the same record before these last 2 games. But when I look at it, Louis Varland, Anthony, 4.91 ERA in his career, 6.46 ERA this year. He's been a stone cold below average pitcher. Let's call him the number 5 starter in his career. Reagans is a flat out ace. You're laying $1.12. Again, I find it hard to believe that they play that game 162 times. You're basically getting a pick 'em that the Royals don't win that game, call it at least close to 100 out of 162. I think they at least go closer to 5-3, not 1-1. I like the Royals with their best pitcher against the Twins' worst pitcher. Give me that all day of the week. And then, Anthony, I'm going into the Hornets' nest a little bit with this one. I am. And I have been so careful in fading the San Diego Padres when it comes to strikeout bets because, man, there's death, taxes, and the Padres don't strike out. But I'm doing it. The Padres are striking out far and away the least right now in the major league. But Mitch Keller, Anthony, he strikes out about 1 inning. He's gone over 3.5 strikeouts, 19 of 21 times, 19-2. Last 3 years, 69-15. I thought it should have been 4.5 because he should pitch 6 innings. He gets 1 strikeout an inning. I would tax him 1.5 strikeouts because of how hard it is to strike out this game. You're taxing him 2.5. I got to take over 3.5 for a guy who's doing it 90% of the time. I get how tough the Padres are though, but I'm gonna say Mitch Keller gets his 4 strikeouts because I would have made it 4.5. So when he lands on 4, like on Anthony's show, that's what I said. I think it should be 4.5, not 3.5.
Now, Brad, I'm looking at it. That's a lot of juice on that at 3.5.
It was. I laid $1.60 area.
It's
like
pricey,
but again,
162. I mean, what do you say if I'm like, it's a lot for me? Should I do the
over 4.5, but again, I think when I ran it through my model, and by the way, just for everyone watching this show, when I give out a bet, I have professional models I don't just say, I think it's a good bet at minus 160. I know exactly what my edge is at every price. Like the bet here was minus 230, let's say, not BG, instead of minus 160. It would show as a negative edge. But at minus 160, it still was a profitable bet, even at minus 160, because it should be, according to my math, closer to minus 200. So at minus 160, it's still a profitable bet. But great question by Juju. Great question.
Picture Brad with his models.
Oh, Brad's got models.
Yeah, no, I do have models.
Yeah, on the yacht. He runs it past his models.
Hey, I mean, I'm marrying a model too, so there you go.
There you go, buddy. Hey, real quick. The Vikings suffered a huge loss. J.J. McCarthy, man, that's a shame. It looks like it's going to be bad. Go ahead.
That's a great question, Anthony, and I want to talk about that real quickly. It's funny, as a Michigan guy, and he was probably right up there as my all-time favorite Michigan athlete, not because of how good he was, but intangible-wise, just personality-wise, This was the guy you want marrying your daughter kind of guy. Just did everything right. Made me sick to my stomach when I saw what happened. And I bet the Vikings, Anthony, over 6.5 wins. But before you jump off a bridge and say, all right, oh my God, what are we going to do? Two things I'm going to say. I was not expecting him to really play much this year, if at all. I'm going to be honest. I don't think he was going to play this year. I really don't. First of all, I think the Vikings are going to be way better than people expect. And I think Darnold's going to...
Oh, wow.
Mentioned Darnold.
In mid-sentence.
You just mentioned Darnold's name. Boom.
There he is.
No. I don't know. I'm back here. I don't think he was gonna play this year, Anthony. I really, really don't.
Wow.
Now,
I thought he was.
I don't think so.
I thought JJ was going to play. I loathe Darnold.
Well, I know.
I think he's
as a Carolina.
horrific.
I get it. I get it. And this could be like me just falling for the Charlie Brown thing where you just so badly want him not to suck, and he sucked every year. But I look at the skill players around him this year, Anthony, and I'm like, man, they have an elite running back, they have elite wide receivers, they have an elite tight end.
No doubt.
I mean, I would almost think you could stick anyone out there, and they're not going to be. This isn't when Carolina didn't have much. I think they at least have like really good players around them where I think he could be below average, not horrible. I don't think he was going to play much, at least I don't know, maybe I'm misreading the tea leaves. But I think the plan the entire time was Darnold to play this year, hopefully have a productive winning season, which I still think this team can have. I really do. And I think JJ was obviously in the future, but it's a shame. It is a shame. You don't want to see that.
Yeah, it is. I thought he was going to get fast-tracked. I thought they were I was thinking by week 6, after they saw enough of Darnold, that he gets his shot. But who knows? Brain,
well,
always
that's the key,
great.
Anthony. What you just said. Yeah.
Always great. At Brad'sBestBets.com, you can find out all about your models.
Hey, listen, hopefully I have some good picks for tomorrow that the model says is a good pick. Always got to go off the models, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm being serious about that. If you don't have a model, you really are just guessing. I don't like to guess.
I like it. Great stuff, my brother. Thank you. The Brain, the Daily Grind, brought to us by the BetPark Sportsbook and Casino app. Let's talk about the BetPark Sportsbook Casino app. So if you look at the fights tonight, again, they're a favorite. Edward Cabrera tonight. Dare I say it? I mean, Cabrera, he's the perfect picture the Phillies eat on.
He's the perfect picture to rip our hearts out.
I know. And I know your BetParks account has been
I'm
dwindling,
again.
right? But I think tonight it could be the night they break out a little bit. Now, again, Phillips on the mound for the Phillies.
Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
Now, the kid threw great the last time when he was at home. Then he got shelled on the road. I don't know. I think he'll go Phillies one more shot. Go one more shot tonight. And I think they put up a couple crooked numbers.
This game's going to cost me $200 tonight between my bet and going down.
VG's BetParks account looks like the Dallas Cowboys salary cap.
Yeah. That's the saying. So check out the BetPark Sportsbook Casino app. And by the way, the casino, you can play live baccarat, live, which the VG does in the bar, live roulette, live blackjack with live dealers. So right there on your phone, they have all the slots you want. And if you're down in the first 24 hours, you get up to $1,000 back. BetParks.com has all the details. Just remember, BetParks.com. Download it to your phone. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Ohio, Michigan, Maryland. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. You bet BetParks.
All right. Now I want the attention of all my diehard sports fans, all right? Because I want to talk to you guys real quick about FOCO because, guys, right around the corner, we are just days away, weeks away now from the start of the NFL season. Football is back, ladies and gentlemen, and there's only one way you have to get ready for the football season. You need the gear, and the only place to do it is at FOCO, guys, all right? FOCO is a leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise, guys, with a product line that includes apparel, accessories, toys, collectibles, novelty items, and much more. Best official licensed gear for all sports and fandoms, including all of our NFL and college football fans. Going to a football game this year, guys? Show off your love with a branded friendship bracelet, guys. Whether it is hoodies, jackets, beachwear, or even overalls, just like the bro, there is something for fans for almost every occasion. And of course, guys, FOCO always has us hooked up here at PHLY, and you guys can enjoy it as well. FOCO always has our backs for Philly sports fans, and they have yours as well. Get the best gear around by using the link. It's in the description if you want it, but if not, listen up. PHLY10. This will get you 10% off your order here on non-presale items over at FOCO. Again, the promo code is PHLY10, 10% off. Guys, it's a solid deal right there, all right? And I'm going to find myself some gear for this upcoming season. I need to freshen up on my birds here. Maybe for all 4 of us here on the show, we'll get some matching velour suits. I know Cuz is digging that one as well. So, guys, this upcoming season, there's only one way to gear up. That's with FOCO.
I like it. Can buy velour sweats.
Yeah.
That's great. I think I had one back in the day. For sure. 10 a.m. brought to us by 10 a.m. hour brought to us by Rite Aid. Get your all your favorite goods, vaccines, allergy meds, over-the-counter stuff, scripts, all at Rite Aid, riteaid.com. I used to have a boss who used to wear a velour sweatsuit.
I mean, that's the definition of a boss.
What was this job, Cuz?
He wore a velour sweatsuit. And here's the violation. He would have no shirt underneath.
Yeah, that's how a lot of those
VG
guys
violation.
rock it like that. It seems to be in hand with the velour sweat.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You got, first of all, if it's a sweat jacket, like you're wearing a sweatsuit.
I wear something.
You got to wear something underneath.
I don't want the zipper hitting up on my...
I'd wear it like that.
Right.
Yeah, of course you would.
You wear it like that?
I would wear it like
Not
that.
even the white beater under?
Yeah, it sounds comfortable.
Sounds comfortable.
That's horrible.
The velour on your skin, come on. Sounds
I
nice.
hate
Dude,
it.
you wear a t-shirt. You always
He
need
is
a
such a
buffer layer.
squeeze.
He don't respect the layer.
Yeah, he likes-
jersey. Who wears a jersey with no shirt
He
underneath?
likes his
ski
nips all
feelings.
scratched up.
Yeah.
Like it's like nails on a chalkboard just thinking about it.
And I never forget this dude would walk around with the velour sweatsuit.
You have a gold chain?
And no, but he had like the hairy chest.
Of course.
Ooh.
And
Yeah, that's what I'm envisioning.
he would have
Hamburger meat.
He would have it, unzipped.
Yeah.
And it was like all the hairy chest coming out. And it was just such a horrendous look.
Is this the old Daily News editor, Pat McClune?
No,
I would totally see Pat rocking one.
No, not at all. No, not at all. It wasn't newspapers.
I
It
hate
was
it when
radio.
Oh,
I hate when the devil.
Yeah.
I hate when the devil showed up in the winter or the stadium series this year with the Flyers. They showed up to the stadium in velour suits. A couple of them had the little espresso cup as well. Hated that.
No, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds like such a radio guy.
Yeah, he would come in and he had the hair coming out. It was just weird. Like,
This is like
it's
us.
what a
weird.
shirt, it's a t-shirt underneath.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Chain or no chain?
I forget. I don't think he had a chain, but
Because that was a look too, right?
Yeah,
the
the chain is definitely-
well,
look.
back in the day, yeah, they would always rock the chain,
The
on and
gold
stuff,
chain.
but
Yeah, he thinks he's in Run DMC or something.
yeah, but you can't do that without the shirt, t-shirt underneath.
Nah,
Like
you
it's
got
something
it.
on there.
It's a
guys.
soft material, though, right? It's like
Yeah, but
almost
you're
like
sweating, dude.
No, dude, it's not a jacket.
weird, dude.
The jacket is the
Yeah.
jacket.
It's not a
You're
shirt.
not supposed to wear the jacket without a shirt.
That I agree with.
Come on, Skeeves.
I'm not wearing a winter jacket without a shirt. Like I'm going to do that.
Not a it's a
But
coat.
if it's
but
like kind of like a zip up hoodie sweater thing, yeah,
You
So
go
you-
straight hoodie.
I do straight hoodie. Yes,
This winter should be interesting, guys.
That is so bizarre.
yeah. In the winter,
in the winter, yeah,
you go hoodie, no shirt, no t-shirt underneath.
no.
This guy he didn't belong. He sounds like a Hugh Hefner kind of guy. You know? And,
I don't know.
with the
yeah,
pipe.
he's at the grotto.
So you go Eagles hoodie, nothing underneath.
Yeah, nothing underneath.
I'll have to introduce you to some white beaters, man. They're very cheap, very comfortable.
They're undershirts. We it was piece
Sport
of
t-shirt.
See, I don't like the undershirt because that's too much. But like, give me something.
Well, but even under a sweatsuit, you need a regular t-shirt. I don't know,
Yeah,
whatever.
if you're
dude.
normal.
I don't get it. We got our man. Well, let's thank God. We need something positive
something normal.
right now.
I wonder
And
if Bo's a layer guy.
he is back from Boston, back from Foxborough after seeing a big day yesterday out of the Birds. You want to feel good after the Phillies? Let's talk about the joint practice, Eagles, Patriots, and the Eagles defense, Bo.
Well, can we talk? Can we keep going on the velour? Because here's my thing: if the guy's not wearing anything underneath up top, then you got to be worried that he's not wearing anything underneath on the bottom too.
Oh,
exactly.
That's the whole MO of skis over here. Yeah.
I do that sometimes as well.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
this radio guy. Yeah, what is going on?
Yeah, it's no good. It's really a violation. Still a violation.
Not good.
So let me do me a favor. Tell me about. I want to feel good. All right, because the Phillies have us beaten up a little bit. All right, the Eagles defense showed up yesterday. Now you can say whatever you want about the Patriots offense and the first-year head coach, but they look good. You saw it firsthand, and you were locked in on that defense.
Yeah, you want to feel good. Let's talk about the defensive line. So the setup yesterday, they got two fields side by side. The viewing is not so great for the press at Foxborough. Everybody is sort of sequestered behind one of the end zones. So me and a couple other reporters, we went up instead, like higher in the stadium, and so we could get sort of an all 22, real football guy stuff. So I'm watching the defense.
You're
Zach's
a real
watching
football
the
guy.
offense. And the defensive line yesterday dominated to the point that it was like it almost ruined practice. Like the Patriots couldn't even get their passing plays off because it was generally that good. And one of the things that I appreciate about a joint practice is it gives us a little bit better context to the things that we have seen this summer. Because perfect example is Bryce Huff, right? Bryce Huff has not done a ton this summer. He's had a pretty quiet summer. But he's going up against Lane Johnson every single day. Like almost all of his reps are against Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson doesn't give up sacks, right? In one-on-ones, Lane Johnson does not lose. So Bryce Huff could put together this great spin move that in my mind, I think would probably beat most right tackles, but Lane snuffs it out, and you don't get to see it in practice. The Patriots offensive line, this is just one day. It's a one-day sample. But the Patriots offensive line is not very good. And so, you're curious to see, does the defensive line blow these guys up? And Bryce Huff in particular, I thought had a very good day. In one-on-ones, he was dominating, had a couple sacks during like actual team drills. Nolan Smith had a very good day, active as well.
Nice. I like hearing that.
Jalen Carter. Going up against the Patriots' best offensive lineman, Mike Onwenu, who they just extended. Like there was a period in the middle of practice where it was just like you could tell that Jalen Carter thought to himself, "Okay, it's my time to dominate," and he's like throwing Onwenu to the side, and it's like sack, pressure, and then on the next play they double team him, which allows Josh Sweat to come in, loop inside on a stunt.
Carter's going to be a beast, dude. I feel it. I just feel it that he's going to be a wrecking ball.
There are going to be times in games where it's like a 2-3 play stretch where Jalen Carter just dominates the game and is the baddest dude on the field. There's no doubt about it.
That excites me.
It's the question is just how often that happens.
Yeah.
Even like some lower level, like I thought Marlon Tuipulotu had his best practice of the summer yesterday, and had another stretch in the beginning of practice where he was sort of ruining things. Moro Ojimo, who has had a very good summer, continued to do that as well. The defensive line as a group yesterday was awesome. Now, again, the Patriots offensive line, not super great, but to see them take advantage of that and to know that, come the regular season, if they play a subpar offensive line, they have the horses to potentially take advantage of that.
Jordan Davis. Anything with Jordan Davis?
Yeah, he had a good day too. It wasn't quite as splashy, but he had a good day as well, especially as a run blocker. And some of that led to what was also a good day for the linebackers. I thought they looked good coming downhill, making plays in the hole. Now, obviously, they're not tackling, but they're there. They're reading things. I thought Zach Bond had a couple plays where he was a little bit out of position, overextended when, he doesn't expect that Bryce Huff's going to be able to set this edge. Then Huff sets the edge. Ramondre Stevenson cuts inside, and all of a sudden, Zach Bond's not there where he should be. We saw more rotation at linebacker yesterday, which we continue to see. So, it starts with Bond and White, and then it's White and Dean, and then it's Bond and Trott Jr., and then they're all mixing in. Nakobe Dean, I thought, had a pretty good day for the level that he's played this summer. Forced an interception in the back of the end zone, knocked the ball away, and then it landed in the hands of Zach Bond, which was a nice play by Dean. Trot Jr. had an interception to end a drive, which was very nice. And again,
he just
Jalen
makes
Hurts
plays, the kid.
That's all he does.
That's all he does, the baby acts.
He's been fantastic. He's been awesome. So the secondary was actually the one group that wasn't awesome yesterday. And I think that was another sort of taste of thinking about and figuring out what it is that we have seen this summer. Because I think there's a case to be made that part of the reason that all of the corners have looked so good this summer, the top like 6 guys on the roster, is because the Eagles don't have good wide receiver depth, right? Like after the top 2 guys, they're not really being tested that much.
Yeah.
And the Patriots have this weird like wide receiver roster where they don't have anybody obviously who is in the same stratosphere as A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, but they're like 1 through 7 are all guys who would probably be the number 3 for the Eagles.
Right.
So you see like Taijuan Thornton beating Isaiah Rodgers, or Keely Ringo losing to somebody else in one-on-ones. Like Jalen Polk had a big day, the second-round pick rookie from Washington. So the secondary I thought was a good,
Polk, by the way.
maybe.
I like Polk.
I loved Polk. I'm with you, Cuz. So I think it was a good just sort of temperature check on maybe we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves on the secondary, but it made me feel much better about the defensive line.
All right, on offense, everybody's talking about the wheel and Jalen to Saquon on the wheel.
I saw this play. This was one where it was nice. It happened to be in between plays on the defensive side of the ball, and it was a beautiful throw from Jalen Hurts. Now, Jalen Hurts was asked about this play after practice, and the conceit of the question was, well, now you have a guy like Saquon who can do this. How exciting is that? And Jalen sort of downplayed that. He said, we've had guys in the past who can catch these balls. Kenny Gainwell, I threw one to him, a similar wheel route at the open practice. I don't know if you saw that. But I think part of the big question about, is Saquon going to be worth it for the Eagles, and why did they invest so much money in him when they have not usually done that at that position, is that because he is a bigger name, maybe Jalen Hurts will be more willing to throw him the ball than he would have been to some of these other guys, because we have seen it in the past that Jalen mostly zeroes in on the top 3 guys, on A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert. Maybe he will be more willing to throw it to Saquon Barkley, and it was a really nice throw in the back of the end zone, and Saquon Barkley came down with it. So I think that is encouraging. Zach described it as the most Kellen Moore day of the summer, in that we saw like a lot of pre-snap motion, and so that's interesting. But I did also see, as I was watching, they had a lot of blitzes come home. The Eagles did not do a great job, it seemed to me, picking up the blitz throughout practice. So that's going to continue to be a concern for Eagles fans, I think.
Mm-hmm. What do you make of the run game? Like what's our expectations with the run game? Obviously, Barkley carrying the load of it, but I know mixing Gainwell and probably Shipley or whatever. But what are we thinking? Like, are we thinking that it's ground and pound?
I don't think the Eagles under Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman are ever going to be truly ground and pound. But I think because they have Saquon and they want to get the most out of him, I think they would be willing to tilt it a little bit more than in years past. I think maybe one of the things is, let's say it's 3rd and 3, where in the past it would be like, oh well, let's get 2 yards here so that we can set up the tush push. I think they can have higher expectations for that with Saquon. I think they're gonna want to run. They have 2 years to get as much out of Saquon as they can, and it's not a humane thing to say like run him into the ground. But I think that's probably part of what they're thinking is like let's wring everything we can out of his body over these next 2 years. So I do think that they're gonna tilt to it much more than the past couple of years. Maybe some of that is taking some hits off of Jalen, and maybe that's part of the reason why they're not as concerned about their wide receiver depth right now. But I still am skeptical that we're ever going to see them going fully run heavy.
How much will Jalen be involved in the run game?
It has been a staple part of the offense in the practice this summer. I mean, the first day, like what do they install day one? There were like several packages of called runs for Jalen Hurts. And I think that needs to be part of the offense just to keep defenses honest. It changes the calculation of everything that happens on offense if they have to respect that. It makes Jalen a more dangerous passer. I don't think that they have to do it 10 times a game, but I think 3 times a game is pretty reasonable and would help keep the defenses honest against him.
Yeah, I thought that was a big part. I know he was banged up last year, but that was a big component that was missing in there. Because listen, when he's a part of it, man, it's a numbers game. It kills you. You're a defense. You're on defense. You're going, all right. Well, I can't just load up the box, man. I got to account for him.
It makes everything easier. I mean, it's going to make Saquon Barkley's lanes bigger. It's going to make play action work better, right? Like all of that stuff is going to be much easier on offense if Jalen Hurts is respected as a real running threat.
Hey, Bo, I had read that the Eagles receivers seem to be unguardable on quick outs and slants. Do you think that's going to be a big part of this offense?
I mean, I do think that we have seen more intermediate throws a little bit than in years past. Zach and I talked about this on the show yesterday, that it's been a little bit less bombs away this summer than in years past. I mean, we know that like Jalen Hurts throwing a slant to A.J. Brown is about as easy money as they have on offense. He just is not guardable there, and Jalen throws that ball well. Devontae Smith is very good at that as well. But beyond those two, I don't know that there's anybody that you can rely on in that capacity.
Did you see the scrum at all? E.J. Jenkins apparently started the scrum.
I think Gainwell started the scrum, but it was between E.J. Jenkins and another Patriot. So what happened, it was during a kickoff return, and my guy, Christian Ellis, on the previous play, knocks the ball loose from Isaiah Rodgers. Christian Ellis is on the Patriots now. Knocks the ball loose. And so I think Gainwell is feeling some kind of way about the level of physicality, and he drops his shoulder on the next play, and that gets a Patriots guy upset, and he and E.J. Jenkins start shoving. But in the like the meter of joint practice scrums, it was like a 2.
Bummer.
2.
Yeah.
Bummer.
What can we expect tomorrow night, Bo, as far as the starters and everything else? I mean, because of this practice, will they back off for tomorrow night?
I think on offense especially they will. I think on defense, maybe you'll see the linebackers again. Maybe you'll see Ringo and Rodgers. I don't think there's any reason that they need to see Jalen Carter play or Josh Sweat or even Jordan Davis. But I think you'll see some of the rotational guys play. And then what I'm interested in is the third preseason game, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but I think there's a good chance we'll see Cooper DeJean by that point. I know we haven't talked about him yet, but he returned as an individual participant yesterday, just going through some very low-level stuff. But he talked after practice. He said he thinks that he'll be able to play in that third preseason game. And so once he gets reintroduced to this defense, I'm fascinated to see where he's used and what Vic Fangio's plans are for him.
Will you think they'll look at him at safety?
I think that that's more likely to be like a midseason thing, because I think that you have to view him now in training camp as what's best for his long-term development. And I think that that's
nickel corner,
working at nickel and corner. He spent some time on the outside in the spring as well. I think you want to set that baseline
right,
for like player development purposes. And then once you get into the season and it's more about what can you do to help the team this week, then I think you start cross-training him at safety potentially, especially depending on, how the depth chart shakes out and if they have a need there. Like if Sidney Brown starts the season on PUP and CJ Gardner-Johnson is still dealing with a shoulder injury, then I think then maybe it's time to hotshot Cooper DeJean to safety.
That kid's a player, man. I love that pick, man. I mean, I went back. Recently I was looking at some of his stuff, and I mean, that first of all, that defense was unbelievable, and he was a big part of it, man. He's a talent.
I would say that I mean they love that pick. I think if you ask them like after draft weekend, which pick was the biggest difference between maybe where they had them and where they got them, relatively speaking, I think they were happiest about Cooper DeJean. Like if Quinion Mitchell had been off the board, Cooper DeJean very well might have been the pick at 22. That's how much they liked him. And Jeffrey Lurie said it on the Eagles video that he went to bed that night dreaming about getting Cooper.
I love that. Hey, Bowie, we started off with a little fashion talk with you. And you're my Nick Sirianni guy. I haven't talked to you about this. I want to get your opinion on his outfit for the Ravens game. It's almost like a designer Belichick hoodie, like a high fashion one, little tight fitting, clean sleeves. Do you like the short sleeve active fit hoodie look?
You know what? I actually kind of like that look. I think that's not bad for Nick. But I will have to tell you, VG, the scene yesterday after Nick Sirianni's press conference. He finishes the press conference. He's walking towards the field, and some like 15-year-old kid in Patriots gear yells at him, goes, "Hey, Nick, Bill's going to take your job next year."
Oh, man.
I heard
something like that. And the Eagles PR was not happy about that. Whipped around and got after the kid.
Oh,
I was wondering if it's like VG's got a long lost son somewhere.
Yeah, I got a cousin up there. I paid my cousin $15 to show up.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, that's nasty. How bad are the Patriots?
I think they're probably pretty bad. Their offensive line was not good.
I mean, it's ranked preseason 28th out of 31.
Yeah. No
but I think their defense is solid. They've got good players there, and like I said, I think their wide receivers are not too bad. I do think I don't know why you would be wasting time with Jacoby Brissett early in the season. Like, just get Drake May the reps. I mean, maybe you're worried about the offensive line getting him killed, but I thought Drake May looked solid yesterday. He's got kind of a funky delivery, but ball comes out easy with some power, and I thought he was a little bit more accurate than Brissett was.
Yeah. Bo, great stuff, brother. Man, Jalen Carter's got me excited. I can't wait. I really can't wait for him. I think if you're dreaming about this Eagles season, who's the guy who is going to turn into a superstar? It's definitely Jalen Carter. Yeah. Yep. I love it. Bo, great. You're the best, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Remember, base layer underneath the velour sweatsuit.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to keep that in mind.
Thanks, buddy. Bo Wulf, 2:00, all PHLY. Zach will be in New England, and Bo will be here, and he just got back. Bo will be covering. Zach will be covering the game tomorrow night. So keep it right here, 2:00, our all PHLY Eagles show. That they do have great coverage, man, inside and out. Their coverage yesterday was just spot on. That's the beauty of what we do here at all PHLY. And that is really in-depth coverage, stuff that you'll get on daily shows as well as written material. That's why you really want to become a diehard and check out all the stuff that we have. In addition to that, let's talk about the Parks Casino Street Road and in Ben Salem. All right. So today is Wednesday. It begins the Wednesday happy hour. The Wednesday happy hour is the epic $5 happy hour.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So at the Liberty Bell Gastro Pub, they do this thing where you get $5 drafts. So I like you like your Parks Pills, right? Where you're seasonal, like the summer. You got that. You have Albertoni Cabernet, so go a little wine. You got the frozen twisted tea Arnold Palmer's, the drink of summer for $5. And all the plates, the small plates, the tapas that are ridiculous. Braised short rib sliders, hot honey chicken sliders. They got it all, man. You got to check it out. The epic $5 happy hour. It's happening right now, man. It's Wednesday through Sunday at the Parks Liberty Bell Gastro Pub. It's so much fun. But that's not it. They have, if you just want a great dining experience, the steakhouse is tremendous. They have the Bamboo Noodle House, which is awesome, and you got all the hand rolled sushi that's fantastic. So the dining's there, the entertainment's top notch, right? Every week, just want to laugh. You got Joe Conklin's comedy shows. He's the best. Right? They have the huge acts at the 1,500 seat Excite Center. So you got great musical acts, great comedians. In fact, Tiffany Haddish and JB Smoove coming up next month at the Excite Center. ParksCasino.com's got all of that. And then you got 115 table games, state-of-the-art slots. You have a brand new poker room that's awesome. And the sports book that it's going to wait you this fall. Every Saturday and Sunday, Monday night, Thursday night, all day, college, NFL, right there from that incredible Parks Sportsbook. Check out Parks Casino. You got to be 21. If you have a gambling problem, you got to call 1-800-GAMBLER. Parks Casino, man, it's the greatest. It's our fun mecca of entertainment right here. JP?
Alrighty, cuz. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 10:25 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. Thank you so much for tuning on in, and we truly appreciate you guys taking your time to watch us here. We really appreciate if you guys would just hit that like button and then subscribe. Cuz mentioned it. We have fantastic beat shows, so make sure you guys are checking them out because they have all the information that you need to keep up to date with all of our Philly sports. And you can take us on the road as well. You can listen to us. If you're heading to work, heading to practice, whatever it may be, pop it into the car. Bluetooth is a thing, guys. All right, find us wherever you stream podcasts, Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever it may be. You can stream us. Make sure you guys are subscribing there, and we would also appreciate if you leave a little rating there as well. Now, here's what's on the docket here at PHLY Sports today. Following us at 11 a.m., PHLY Philly should be interesting, but Jim Salisbury is going to be on at 11:30 today. So make sure you guys check him out. See what Jim's got to say here today on Wednesday. So that's going to be at 11 a.m. At 1 p.m., we have PHLY Flyers live at 2 p.m. Training camp edition of PHLY Eagles continues. You just saw Bo be joined by Zach. We'll get you ready for tomorrow night's Game 2 preseason game. At 3 p.m., we have PHLY Sixers. And then, of course, guys, let's talk about the watch party, all right? Speaking of those PHLY Phillies team, guys, August 29th, Phillies, Braves. We hate the stinking Braves, and we're going to be at Top Tomato booing the Atlanta Braves from that bar. And by the way, guys, $1 12-ounce cans of beer and $1 hot dogs, guys. All right, Dollar Dog Night is back at Top Tomato. So join Jamie, Renee, and Tyler as they got you covered for that game. Should be a lot of fun. All this information can be found on allphly.com/events. But to make it easy for yourself, you just got to become a diehard. Cuz again alluded to it a little bit earlier. Exclusive content from our beat writers, but also you get access into those Discord chats. Great communities going on, great discourse going on in a lot of those chats right now. You get the discount on the merchandise. You see me rocking the PHLY black and white shirt here. We have a bunch of different t-shirts, hats, hoodies, all on the PHLY PHLY locker room. So make sure you guys are becoming diehards. And of course, in just a little bit, we'll be taking those phone calls. So if you guys want to talk to the cuz, you can now, all right? So we have some people coming in today. If you guys want to call in, we will be taking callers every day at 10:30. Just make sure you guys DM us at PHLY Gargano Show on Twitter. We'll get you all those instructions, and you too can talk again with the cuz. Alrighty, cuz?
Yeah, well, I mean, so with us, not just me. I mean, I love talking to our people in our chat, and it's one of the things I loved doing radio was talking to our fans,
the crew,
the community, man. It's like it's a big family, so we love to hear from all of our people. In fact, Skeeves, people get a hold of you. Right?
Yeah. Just email me, Andrew at allphly.com. If you want to get on the show, and I'll send you the link, and then you can get on here and you can talk to the crew.
Yeah, that'd be fun. All right, I'm looking forward to that. We want to get this thing rolling, so by football season, we know you're going to want to be a part of it. So, and you can do it audio, you can do it video, whatever you want. So we'll give you that sort of option. All right, let's bring it back to the Phillies for a second because I'm shocked. One of our good community members, Tasty Cake Dom.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
How about this?
What's he saying?
Got a message on the text board.
On the text board.
What's Tasty Cake Dom got to say today?
They're cooked.
Oh, no.
They're cooked, and they're cooked.
Oh, come on.
He said the foundation that is defensively, they don't know how to play baseball. Guys taking extra bases because they can't hit a cutoff guy. You hold your breath on every ground ball. They're cooked, and they're cooked.
All of a sudden, they don't know how to play baseball?
Bats go cold. How does a team support a pitcher? That's a huge concern. They don't know how to play baseball, Ant.
Back to fundamentals.
Dom's always so nice and upbeat. Come on, Dom.
Oh, my God.
That's bad if Dom's in the gutter with me.
Still a good baseball team,
Oh,
guys.
man. He's saying there's foundational issues.
I still don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't believe that. I don't believe it,
Same way.
and I don't believe that they're cooked. My main man Tooch.
Oh, boy.
Oh, come on, Tooch.
Tooch needs a gummy.
He goes, this is my text to his brother Scott, who's a VG type,
Yeah.
on July 8th. Fade the Phillies post All-Star break.
I got my boy from the Northeast, Ragu, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes he hates Topper. This is what he put up on Facebook about Topper. A little picture. Topper says, "I stink as a manager."
There's a lot
you
of
got to shake it up and fire the manager.
There's a lot of Topper hate this morning.
And
Yes. He's not one that instills a lot of confidence in people. When things are going well, they kind of ignore him, right? And when things are going bad, they zero in on him.
I know. I hate that because like right now, like I can't put all this on Topper with this slide.
No.
You guys
not
got
at all.
to step up too.
Yes. Yeah.
And dude, we
Yeah.
need a win bad. I don't know if you've seen this, but there's this guy with his grandma. It's bad news. He says he's keeping grandma in this cage until the Phillies win a game.
Oh my God, that's fabulous.
That's hilarious.
That reminds me of
We want for grandma.
Uncle Frank.
We put Uncle Frank in a cage.
Uncle Frank was in the dog cage because he screwed up one of the Sixers playoff series, and so we put him in the dog cage. And there was a great picture of Uncle Frank like in the dog cage, a big cage.
Yeah, sure.
Not as big as Grandma's cage.
That's a nice cage they got.
That's
grandma.
a nice cage
Yeah.
for Grandma.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
She can take a nap in there.
really. I mean, that's like a half a studio apartment in New York. You go live in Manhattan.
It's free.
Oh
You gonna
my
pay
God,
$2,000 for that a month, guys.
that's fantastic. Are you kidding me?
Oh man, yeah. People are not happy and a little panicky today, cause
Not great out there.
By the way, this portion of the program brought to us by the great people over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Go to truemark.com/PHLY to see the credit union difference at TrueMark today. Stop into a branch near you. Yeah, we need a win because we need to breathe. Like we're emotional beings.
for sure.
Philadelphia is, and we over emote. We over emote. I mean, I think that's unquestionable that we go in. I mean, I had never seen anything like the first half at Citizens Bank Park.
Right. It's magical.
I
Some
mean,
great scenes.
every
Me
night.
too.
Like I remember, I was blown away by it. Like it was the middle of May, and it was like hanging on every pitch.
Yeah.
Listen,
The flip side is this: the booze rained down. People telling you you're cooked, putting your grandmom in a cage.
I mean, I don't even know if one win does it for me against the Marlins and the Nats.
But you don't wanna get
need to
swept
go
by
on a
the
roll.
Marlins either.
They need to go on a roll.
You win because you need a win because the opposite is unthinkable. Because then you lose a series to the Marlins.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my God. Like if they lose tonight, now listen, it's Phillips, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, and I
it's
don't
giving
know.
you some fight.
I mean, the kid pitched well. I love it. He's a local kid, Bishop Eustace.
got some
I
spunk.
root for this kid. But, listen, I mean, he got hit around a little bit on the West Coast. I don't know.
The ballpark's gonna be full tonight with Italian Heritage Night too. So it's gonna be a lot of booze if they don't play well. Edwin Cabrera's got like 7 Ks through 4, something like that. I mean,
I'll be quick to the boo tonight, especially on Stoughton Marsh.
oh wow,
Yeah, I'm quick with it.
Everything's not
I'm
in
just
know
your
what's
irritated as soon as I
interesting?
hear that song.
The boo, right? The boo is interesting. Like tonight, is tonight a throaty boo?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Like
people are gonna
an angry boo?
are gonna put some belly in it
Yeah.
tonight, cuz
That's my right. I expressed myself down there tonight. I'm frustrated. This has
So
been
you
miserable.
you'll like take a breath and get like you get one of those.
Yeah,
that was good,
man.
cuz.
If they lose tonight,
If they're just playing
Guttural.
dumb or a Marsh strikeout, a JT pop up, a JT double play. Oh, yeah, dude.
643 now.
Yeah.
Now you go guttural.
yeah, if they lose tonight, 100%.
So you're weaponizing the boo.
Good thing that net's up the low level.
Yeah, but are we going too far?
It's really
And
hard
again,
for me to
I'm
boo.
just
That's part of playing here.
It is part of playing here. I'm not denying it, and I'm not saying we got to be, Pollyanna, Mickey Mouse, yeah, home team. Like I get it. We're a sophisticated fan base, but this is the same team that we had this dramatic love affair all spring.
Yep.
This is also a team that we have cheered individually, cheered in the past, like the Trey Turner thing, like the standing ovation.
Are we all going to give them a standing ovation when they come on the field tonight? Is that what we need to do?
I don't know. I mean,
No, they run out on the field tonight. It should be a hearty boo as soon as they run out on the field before the first inning.
Well, explain to me, because this is really up, where you guys are at, right?
Yeah.
Explain to me this: if it worked for Turner, why wouldn't you do the same thing?
These guys are at a point where they need tough love. They got their heads up their butt. They need some reality. They need a Ray Diddy reality check right now. They need hearty boos. They run out on the field, hearty boos tonight until they turn this around.
Do you think they're a little too comfortable?
They're just complacent. I think that big lead, they're just like chill. Like, I don't know. They need some hard, tough love.
I think
I don't agree with the boo coming out on the field. I think the standing ovation's a little cupcake. But if they lose tonight,
forget about tough guy soft. All right, forget that, because listen, we are there was a great line. God, I gotta find it, but there was one of the late night people did it, and they talked about some city came up with a list of the friendliest cities, and it was whatever, Minneapolis, say. And then the person from Philadelphia punched the guy who made up the list in the face. Like that, I get it. Like that's who we are. We kind of live up to this kind of tough guy, thing. But is it smart?
They're just like, we got to flush this, get home in front of our fans. Like, nah. You want to come home in front of us when you're playing like this? Nah, man, it's going to be miserable till you get it right. Miserable here till you get it right.
make anything easy.
What if that prolongs it?
So be it. Then they ain't meant to be. They ain't the champs we thought they were.
See, I think differently. I think right now they're just in their heads. I don't think they're complacent. I think right now they're just they're their own worst enemy right now, and that's why they're losing these games.
Well, right. Well, so if that's the case, isn't it worse? Aren't you making it jumble in their heads worse?
Nah, man, they need a jolt of reality. They need to be shaken. Like, get it together.
We DG that dugout right now.
We are the kings.
Get it together.
This town is the kings of the tough love.
They need a good punch in the arm. A friendly but good punch in the arm.
So standing up and clapping for them is going to get them out of their heads?
I'm not making a judgment. I'm just having the conversation with you guys.
I'm not doing standing
Pollyanna.
up.
Pollyanna over here.
I'm not anything. I'm not as worried as you guys are. But I get it.
Yeah, Dev in the chat's with me. Matt Decker, he's like, I hate this team. I'm not giving them a standing go. Yeah, people are angry.
But does Matt, now ask Matt in the chat, and then I guess we got Nick?
We're working on Nick right now, yep.
All right, but ask Matt in the chat, you don't really hate this team. You love this team. Like,
that's how you say your family. No. I hate my brother right now.
But there's certain teams that you don't like. I thought we loved this team.
We do. That's why they need some tough love. Like, you could see Trey was struggling. He was pressing. These guys don't look like they're pressing right now. They're just like lollygagging out there.
You see laissez-faire.
I do.
Do you feel the same way now that you did with the Eagles, Thornton, like after that 10-1 start?
No, again, I think the Eagles at 10-1. The shocking thing about the 10-1 slide was how ineffective they were on offense. Like defensively, there were issues. Like you could see there were issues. I mean, they won the game in Buffalo and in overtime in the rain, and the defense was a house of cards. Mm-hmm. But offensively, you still got Hurts, AJ, Devontae, right? Like even last year, I still thought they had enough offensively to move the football. The fact that they were so disjointed, so discombobulated from the coordinator and the head coach and the whole scheme, to watch it just completely tumble into complete ineffectiveness was jarring.
That felt like ineptitude and incompetency, what we saw. This just feels these guys are just, they need to get it together, man.
What do you guys say?
So Matt Deckard said he hates this team right now. It's my bad for leaving that. He hates them right now. I mean, he loves them, but right now he hates them. And I think that's what we're all feeling right now.
Well, what do you say to, you have the Charlie thing? You have it? Did you have it? Can you put it up? Anyway, so I did this morning. Don't worry about skis. This morning, I texted Charlie Manuel and said, how do you feel? You worried? And he wrote back, not at all. He said, in fact, I'll give you verbatim.
Not at all. I'm positive and upbeat.
I'm positive and upbeat. How about that?
You must be on some sativas this morning.
That's a manager talking, though.
Look, this is Uncle Frank in the cage.
No way.
I got to send this to the Skeeves. So you can have Uncle Frank when he was in the Skeeves.
Dev in the chat, boo those mother fathers. They need to feel it.
All right. I mean, listen,
They're a little too comfortable.
And if that's what you think it is, I'm not saying. I'm not saying go big, go yay, team. I understand it, but if you think about it intellectually, there was a case of all right. Like, do you do one more? Let's go, let's go, and it's cheers and standing ovation, and the energy comes from the crowd because it's the Marlins. So we're off the bat, you're like, whatever. The energy's not going to be there tonight.
I think last night was the night where you have optimism, you show them a little benefit of the doubt, you cheer them. After last night, that was just pathetic last night.
Yeah, what's concerning about last night, you had a day off, and they came back and looked dead.
Well, but you know what's funny? If you actually go back, teams, any sport, right? Baseball, hockey, basketball. When you come back from a West Coast trip, go look at their records. When you come back from a West Coast trip, you always have a night off, and then you play the following day. There's always like a sleepiness to the team because you get home for the first time, you catch up on stuff. It's just you're kind of getting reacclimated.
A little jet lag.
So there is always that kind of listless first game back. I mean, you were better. You've seen that. That trend's been out there forever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to like it.
No, I listen. I'm not saying.
Casper the Ghost calling for heavy metal guttural booze tonight.
Well, anthrax booze.
Anthrax booze.
You go a little anthrax booze.
Yeah.
I think Nick's having a little issue with the link.
All right. Well, you listen. Let's do some nugs.
Nugs.
I got Uncle Frank in the cage if you want to see it.
Yeah, let me see it. This is Uncle Frank in the cage. Look at that.
That was a video.
Josie, listen, it's almost game time, all right? Get to the sofa. The remote, I think, is on the mantle. Okay?
So we instructed Uncle Frank to be in the cage.
Poor Rosie.
Because he had he didn't watch the game. He committed a violation. And so his penance was because he didn't watch the game. He had to be in the Josie's cage for the game. And it worked, by the way.
Get in there, Uncle Frank.
Maybe Uncle Frank does need to go. We had Grandma in the cage, right? I don't know. Maybe we put...
trying to get Grandma out.
Get someone's Nona in there.
Maybe we put Skeeves in the cage.
Yeah.
You've tried that once already.
Did we put you in the cage?
Yeah, for the Sixers, the playoff game or something like that. You tried to put me in a cage.
He's being Negadelphin over
because
there.
I was being,
You do have
Philly.
a tendency. It's interesting, the personalities that we all have here. So JP is the happy, smiley, rosy, everything's good. Skeeves is the opposite of that. Everything sucks, blows, teams stink, the whole thing.
Except the Union.
And VG, or except who you like, Man U? Who you like?
Liverpool.
Liverpool. This guy, between the two of them, listen, I like soccer, so I'm not ripping it. But these guys, all they do when they come in is talk soccer.
True.
Like sometimes I go, JP's talking, Colombia and whatever,
Brazil bought this player from the Union.
Well, that's the thing is the Union were playing bad when the Phillies were good, and now the Union are playing really well and the Phillies are playing bad. So
somebody
Union
said
took the mojo.
VG is this. So VG is the other generation, which is my generation, which is the overdoes it. Like you're either over love or over hate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Andrew's all hate. JP's all love.
Well, that's the thing. So Andrew's here is negative. I'm up here is positive. You two are somewhere in the middle here.
We fluctuate. I'm passionate. Like I'm up and I'm down, up and I'm down.
I know you're manic.
Yeah.
The part of like Philadelphia and we all represent somebody in the fan base.
Yeah.
Right? Like we all represent that. Listen, sometimes with moments like this, I like to kind of divorce myself from that and kind of look at it through
bigger picture.
Through the reporter eyes.
Oh, gotcha.
Because you're trained to do that, right? Sometimes, so I could kind of look at it and go, all right, like I don't think this is a problem. I don't think this is a problem. Now, when we saw yesterday from the Eagles in practice, like when you think about it, and again, the Patriots stink, so it's practice, so there's so much you're going to take out of it, but I do think it's changed. The defense has changed this year from last year. There's more talent on defense now.
Yes.
Like, if you take Jalen Carter, the next iteration of him this year, I mean, I think the kid's poised for a breakout, right? You got more playmakers on defense. Like I think the offense is the offense, right? Like you got Saquon. I mean, as long as they fixed all the structural scheme issues, which apparently, that by addressing coordinator, you're going to take part of that. I think defensively, I like the way they look defense. I mean, I think they're going to be better than last year. They're still going to be better toward the end of the year, and they're still going to give up big plays. But I think there's some young talent, and there's more talent now than there was last year.
I think for the most part, people feel the same way you do about the defense. And I think a big factor, too, is Vic Fangio. A lot of people did want an experienced defensive coordinator to come in here, especially with a lot of the young pieces you do have on defense. I think people do feel comfortable with that Vic Fangio factor.
Yeah, I just look at it personnel-wise. Like, if we're looking at, what's real, what's not real, what's foundation, what's not foundation, I mean, I like the way they looked. I think their talent roster-wise is upgrade from last year.
Absolutely. And I like Fangio. I wish he would walk through the Phillies locker room and just chew every individual player out, tell it like it is. They need the Fangio kind of interaction.
So is that the Topper issue right now?
Well, see, no,
that Topper has no teeth?
It's not. See, that's not true because when Soto got traded, we had learned that Topper really chewed Soto out, got into him. So he may do it behind the scenes. You don't know.
I was about to say that to you.
Yeah.
Because we have a tendency to kind of go, well, look at him. He's not doing anything.
Yeah, but no.
But he's a guy, and a true baseball guy always does it behind the scenes. Charlie was like that.
Yeah. Topper's got a little edge that we don't really know about.
Yeah, I always need to see everything.
But they just need a big Fangio. Get it together.
The Boxman.
You got to go on your head out your ass.
Yes.
Like, play with some jam.
Yes,
You're looking for Laviolette.
Yeah, exactly. Play with some damn
You're
jam.
looking for Laviolette action.
Yeah, that's what they need, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Laviolette used to get you fired up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, he was one you could get the fans. But yet you hate Torts.
Yeah, because Torts is just...
You don't like his decision-making.
Torts is a character. It doesn't even feel real. He's like, you can't just be the hard guy all the time. I mean...
But see, I think he shows the softer side. Like, I think there's a reason why there's not an all-out mutiny against him.
I mean...
I think he shows that. I think he shows that behind the scenes.
It's early. I mean, the mutiny odds are year 3. I mean, here it comes. But Torts blows out his welcome year 3 or 4. I mean, this is where it happens.
You hate when he benches like Bobby Brink when you need some forwards.
It's just, his like tit for tat with like Morgan Frost. I was like, all right. I mean,
it worked out. His was some nugs.
All right,
some nugs.
I'm feeling a bunch of hate. Dude, I hate this guy's face. He's ranking up there with me. This Jake Berger.
I hate the Burgermeister.
I hate him, and now he just tied a franchise record for most home runs in a 6-game span. He's
on a tear.
I hate Burger.
Yeah, Burgermeister.
It looks like a burger.
Yeah, I don't like. I hate the burger.
It looks like the Big Mac.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like the burger.
Yeah, we all sit through and
I hate the Marlins. I told you, I hate them. They should not exist.
yes,
You know why they shouldn't exist? Because nobody cares about them. Baseball doesn't belong down there because they don't support it. They're all from somewhere else. They don't support the sport down there. And the Marlins are the worst possible franchise. They bought 2 World Series. They're the biggest fugazis. And it's sleepy. They just suck. And
Preach.
They're just boring.
Yes.
They're just a horrible team. In fact, I'm pissed off that we're going down tonight and you got to go see them.
Right.
Anybody but them. I hate the Nationals, but I hate the Marlins way more than the Nationals.
It's that sports market in general. They just won the Stanley Cup. Did you see anything from their parade?
No, I hate it down there.
They should exist, and they're such a pain in our ass.
Yeah, they are. So that's why I said it yesterday, guys. They're pesky.
It's a terrible sport. Terrible.
And they ruined their branding too.
They Miami, they Florida.
I love the Florida Marlins when it was like that greenish color with the marlin and stuff, and then they just went to Miami, and then now it's like black and all these dumb colors. And
yeah, I agree.
I'm out.
Yeah.
We watch the games. We sit through Kruk's wild and crazy rambling sometimes. John Oliver, I don't know. Last week tonight, John Oliver closed out his show with a montage. Like a minute and a half of Kruk's craziness.
Did he really?
Yes. Do you have the tweet of it? Yeah, it's hysterical. Great. He's talking about he doesn't understand why we're not born with hair. We are born with hair on our head, but we're not born with hair on our chest, and why it takes so long for chest hair to come. Here it is.
And now, the delightfully bizarre musings of Phillies color commentator John Kruk.
You know, I was thinking about this today, now that we have some time. Yeah. Like, why aren't we born with hair on our chest as men?
I don't know that.
Why does it wait till like you're, 16, 17, 18, 20, whatever?
Yeah.
And then it starts growing. Like, where are those follicles dormant?
There's not a lot of shows I watch with the kid. We banned them from one.
I'm not even going to ask which one it is.
Well, I can tell you.
All right.
Caillou.
Oh, okay.
All that kid did was complain.
I agree.
We used to do stuff with ESPN down at Disney, like Animal Kingdom. They put us up. So the first day I open up the shade. There's a dang giraffe looking in my window. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Did you feed it anything?
I did not. I was
great to get the music behind
So
them.
Kenny Pierce decided, hey, I'd like to get my girlfriend to come up here. But we go down there and pick her up. Her dad comes out with a dang shotgun trying to shoot at us.
Of course he does.
Did I ever tell you about playing the prison team and when I was playing a winter ball? So I asked the catcher, I said, what did he do? He's out, he found his girlfriend cheating. He burned up her car with her and her boyfriend in it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Very uncomfortable at bat.
How does that get on their radar?
That's awesome. One of the writers has to be from Philadelphia.
Sure. That's a big
and goes, listen, I got a great dude. But I will say this. He's spot on with the Caillou thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when my kids were little,
there's no
I
Caillou.
banned this Caillou.
That's a good move, cuz.
Caillou's got a head like a football, or like a
like a bro.
Weird.
He's like bro.
Yes, he's
bro. Looks like Caillou.
If you ever see Jamie, our dear friend Jamie Lynch, he was Caillou. In fact, there was a doll, the Bro doll, that was in the studio for years. We used to have it, but he would cry all the time. It was Caillou, and I hated this kid. Hey, why do I have to go out and play? And then all the kid did was whine, complain, cry if he didn't get his way. To the point where I said, no more of this Caillou, and banned him in my house.
And you wonder why this generation is what it's like, cuz.
What is the point of the show? Like, what do you get out of it? What's at the end of a Caillou episode? What is it? He whines and gets his way? Or
point.
Yeah,
what
no, he was a whiner. Like, they tried to teach him, like little kid lessons and, it was that stuff. But he was a complainer. I couldn't stand this kid. I love children, right? Like, I love youth sports, the whole thing. But the one thing I've learned is that they're not all of them are likable. All right?
Oh, man, it's true.
Like, not all, they're like adults. Some adults, you just go, I hate this person. I don't know why, but I just can't stand them. And the kids are just the same way.
Oh my
Like yesterday, we
God.
were in the elevator yesterday.
For the record, I don't hate any of the kids I coach.
Right. Of course not. But they get on your nerves and you can't stand them. But, and again, and it's just not all of them, but some of them are unlikable. We're in the elevator yesterday. This dude now misses his elevator, misses his floor. He's staring at his phone. Oh, I do the same thing.
It looks like he's like 17 and 18.
Yeah,
maybe.
young dude, right? Staring at his phone, misses the floor. He misses the floor again. And he's got, like, so it's twice. He's staring at his phone. He's not, head up. So I just make a joke of it. I bury that phone. Whatever, just make a conversation. We always, VG and I make conversation on the elevator.
Right.
Here at our building. And the dude just completely ignores, I'm talking to him, completely ignores me.
Like he's on the elevator by himself. He's acting like
Bizarre. So then I snap my fingers. Yo, you awake? You know, it's kind of a fun, jovial kind of thing.
You're busting
Kid
chops.
got mad. You snap your fingers in my face. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm like, what's the matter with you?
yeah, you were like, hey, man, show some respect. You know, people are talking to you.
Like,
He's like, show some respect. Don't snap your finger in a stranger's face.
Like, have a conversation. This dude, I'm just thinking to myself,
You don't want to coach him.
No.
No.
It's I don't know what it, like even like just simple as like walking. Like I walked out in my neighborhood with my dog, right? I remember growing up, we should say hi to even if they were on the side of the sidewalk. Yo, how you doing? Like you don't have to get in conversation, but just a simple like, hey, how you doing? I know in the cities it's a little bit different, but in the suburbs, we used to just like, yo, what's going on?
Same way.
You're in the elevator with someone. Say hello.
Yeah,
You know,
hurt
I
to
mean,
say
you don't
what's
have a
going on.
conversation. You're not going to have an intimate conversation. But, the two, it's just like this. His face. He looked up and even he looked up, his head was still arched, and he looked up with the eyebrow up. I was like, what?
You look like the thing from what's it called, Lord of the Rings, or Harry Potter. My precious,
Gollum.
my
Gollum.
precious.
Yeah, he looked like a gollum.
Yeah,
Yes.
Schmeagol.
Yes. What was his
Whatever.
name?
Well, his name is Schmeagol, but
Schmeagol?
Gollum.
Who was the dude? Who was the dude that was the green guy, little green dude used to float around? And he in
The
one of
Great
the
Kazoo on Flintstones.
one of the early movies, he dumps the cake on the uncle's boss.
Oh, I don't remember.
I have no idea
I've
what you're
never
talking
seen these
about.
movies, so.
You never saw
That's not Lord of the Rings.
That's Potter. Talking Potter, dude.
Oh, Potter.
Hey, Dobby or what?
Dobby, yes, Dobby.
Yeah. The
I know
house elf.
Dobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like you remind me of a Dobby.
Gets the socks.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we had a guest attendance at the game last night. Did not bring us good luck. The 76ers' own Eel was at the game, and I like he's sitting with the folks. He doesn't have box seats or anything. Nice. Man of the people these days.
Eel.
Yeah.
I wonder
Way
if
to
people
go,
recognize them.
Let me do
Some solid seats too.
Dude, let me skip ahead to this one. I know it might screw. Oh no, we're right on side. NFL pressure sacks. Now this is an interesting stat. Like percentage of times a NFL quarterback was pressured, and how many times that turned into a sack. Where do you think Jalen ranks? So I'm going to say Josh Allen, 10% was the best, 10.3. What do you
Jalen's
think?
got to be top 5.
As far as good
Is
as
this based off
pressures
of-
don't turn into sacks?
Is this based off of last year or career?
Last year.
Oh, just
Oh
last
no,
year.
all together.
Yeah, I would think that he's got a loose. He could be elusive. So
He's 7th. Not bad.
We'll say top 10.
14.5 of his pressures turned into sacks.
that makes sense to me.
Yeah. I thought after last year, though, the numbers
We'll go down a little bit.
Yeah, because last year seemed like brutal.
But he's got a he's elusive.
Yeah.
Like, he's got escapability.
Yeah. And one more before we get out of here. Andrew Bourdain biopic is being made. Have you seen this?
No, wow.
Yeah. Dominic Sessa
My favorite.
has been cast to play him. He was the young kid who did the lead in The Holdovers.
Oh, wow.
It's only his second film.
Wow.
So he's going to play
That's
Bourdain.
a tough challenge.
It's made by A24, which should be pretty good. They always do good stuff.
Yeah,
Good one,
I'm
BJ.
looking forward to seeing that, man.
Yeah.
I love. To this
He's
day,
a local kid, too. He's from not far from here.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to get him on the show. One of the things I always loved to do was I still, to this day, will put on old Bourdain shows.
Oh, yeah. Man. Some of the best stuff.
Yeah. Skeeves, great job as always. Everybody have a great day. We love you. Be careful. All right? Phillies win tonight. We'll see you in the morning.
Ciao.
We all silly like the mayor.